What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I bought some bottom tier books. Let's get into them.
Boo! You suck!
Okay, it is the second episode of What You're Reading, my new series where I'm just kind of combining comic book reviews and a haul video all in one, just kind of quickly going through thoughts, comments, opinions about current books that I'm purchasing, mostly designed to be for newer books, but we'll go over older books in the series as well. Don't have a lot of rules, not married to my guidelines for this particular series. I'd like to start off with two books from the last haul video / what you're reading video. I don't believe I got to talk about it much, so here's Howard the Duck #1 by Chip Zdarsky. In fact, this wasn't part of my What You're Reading episode. I think I got this from my Nashville trip, so missed the opportunity to talk about it in What You're Reading, but I've since read the issue, and it's really just an anthology series, so because this isn't really canon, I don't really feel a need to talk about this particular issue. It's an anthology book. There's a lot of cute stories here. Some of them didn't hit. I didn't really care for their art on a lot of these issues. But there was one particular issue I really liked, the gag with the Whatchya, where they were talking about him being the peeper or whatever. It's just a cute, funny gag, and it went over with me. I chuckled. I liked it. Am I going to stick with the book? I think so. I just like Howard the Duck. I've read his first #1 ever from the 70s, and I really liked that. So I'm behind the character to go along with the phrase side quest some of you guys use out there. This is definitely a side quest, and something I'm probably not going to be prioritizing if the budget doesn't allow for it. Next up, I did talk about purchasing Ghost Machine. I just bought Ghost Machine just for Geiger and Redcoat and Junkyard Joe. Still new to this whole Geiger verse. I didn't include this issue in last week's What You're Reading episode because the book was so thick. There we go. And I got into it, and I didn't realize it was just an introduction to everything Ghost Machine Pro's doing. So not every single book under Ghost Machine Pro is in one shared universe, which I was nervously thinking that was it. But they're doing multiple separate universes. Thank God, I'll have a chance to fit this into the budget, once I get my reading caught up and stuff. I did read the Geiger and Redcoat stuff, and I was excited. Geiger is on a journey to find another radiant man. There's another radiated being in existence in this universe, and so Geiger is looking for that character. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to read this book again. I don't have thoughts and opinions about the Redcoat stuff. And I think it's more or less just an origin story about Redcoat. Now that I'm thinking about it, the wheels are churning and I'm remembering stuff. I was about to say I didn't remember stuff, but it just kind of goes over the origins of Redcoat and how he's kind of immortal, and he made his claim to fame from the Revolutionary War, hence the name Redcoat. So interested to find out more about Redcoat, and then I need to backtrack these Geiger issues, another side quest, and once I get caught up, we will then get the Geiger stuff on the pull list. Can't decide if I want to spend money on the Geiger books yet. We just have to maneuver the budget and see where that goes. Alright, I don't know where to start first. I think we'll save the books that I bought for the PC, and I wasn't intending to read them right away. We'll save them last. Let's start off with Sandman, Wesley Dodge, Sandman #2. This is a book that I didn't get the chance to start off with at the time of release, and so I've dedicated some back issue portion of the budget to this series. I'm still iffy on, even after reading this issue, I'm still iffy on this book. I'm not a huge fan of the art. It feels like Disney art. It doesn't feel like a comic book. I was trying to place what this art reminds me of, what it invokes in me, and it reminds me of Disney art. I'm reminded of things like Hunchback of Notre Dame and some of the princess movies. Atlantis. It really reminds me of Atlantis, that animation style. And it just kind of turns me off. It doesn't. It's just more evocative of a kid's book, and I feel like Wesley Dodge is more for an adult, old head audience. This is a golden age character. It uses 1940s themes. I just don't think kids would be interested in Wesley Dodge's Sandman. This is definitely an old head, deep cut DC fan book, and so I feel like the art should follow those themes, those motifs, and it's just not there in the art. But anyways, the writing's okay. You know, the first issue we left off Sandman, Wesley Dodge. To be more accurate, like the final pages, his house got burned down, and so here we are in the second issue. He's discovered that his lair, his secret headquarters of the Sandman, has been invaded. Someone has stolen his journal. He's coming up with recipes to find the perfect non-lethal sleeping gas. And he's written all of his recipes and all of his experiments and findings in this journal, and it's been stolen. So now he's hot on the case to find out who's taken his journal. We're going to see what happens in issue 3. I'm still on this book. I'm going to finish it out. I want it in the PC to say I have the Wesley Dodge Sandman run, because eventually, maybe one day, I'd like to chase down Golden Age Sandman books, and it would just be cool to have, you know, a whole history of Sandman books. So that's kind of why I'm putting up with being so iffy 50-50 on this book, kind of being a masochist about it, not enjoying it, but I still want it collected. I'm just that kind of collector. I collect characters. Let's do the Energon universe next. So, Duke number 2. Of all my brand new NCBD books, as I call them, that I'm interested in, Duke is the number 1 book I'm into. I like this version of Duke. When I watched the G.I. Joe cartoon that started the whole mythos, I'm not really a fan of that version of Duke. Clean cut, Superman, Clark Kent type, Boy Scout, always willing to do what's right. It's just not really the kind of character I look for. I look for, even if he's a baby face, to put it in wrestling terms, I still would like my babyface to be complicated, rough around the edges, that sort of guy. He's a little bit more dynamic of a character. And that's what this version of Duke is. He's gone rogue. People won't answer, Issue 1's out, so we can talk spoilers. I won't talk spoilers for issue 2, but in issue 1, he's discovered Transformers, and the government is not answering his questions, and so he's decided to go rogue. And here in issue 2, he's gone to his first stop, the first person he trusts, but that he thinks is a clever enough person to go to that the military won't hunt him down. Give him enough time to get his ducks in a row and make his next move, knowing the military is hot on his butt. Things get complicated. He's been discovered, and crap hits the fan for Duke. But at the end, we have a new player in the game. She's revealed herself to Duke. They're going to try to work with each other, a little you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing. And this character is well known. You're going to know when you read this issue who this character is, and you might even gasp, it's this character, which I totally did. So that's all I want to say. I want you to enjoy Duke. I'm totally on board with this. I'm sad it's 5 issues. Cobra Commander's 5 issues. Transformers is 5 issues. Where is this Energon universe going? I don't know. But we better get some books. By the summertime, and these books wind down. All right, next up, we got Transformers number 2. I know that I'm behind in the story, which kind of stinks because a character, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. Duke is in this book. With this book being so old, we can talk spoilers here for Transformers 2. Duke is in this book. In fact, this might be Duke right here on the cover. So that confuses me with this Duke book because the timeline isn't syncing here. I'm thinking either Duke is the present timeline or Transformers is the one of these books is in the past because of the events of what's going on in Duke have nothing to do with what's going on in the Transformers. So interested to see to make that connection, but also Jetfire and not Jetfire. The Decepticons have finally revealed themselves in issue 2. I mean, humans now know Decepticons are here. Maybe it's not on a global scale, but it's not just a couple kooky people. Like legit people, a legit amount of number of people now are aware of the Decepticons, and we're trying to see what the Autobots' next move is going to be. The Autobots are really trying to rest and recharge their batteries. Pun intended, I guess. They're searching for Energon. They've constructed a machine out of Optimus Prime's trailer. Prime's trailer is not a part of his body. I never knew that. It's just an accessory. And in this case, I don't know the history of Optimus Prime, but in this story, in this iteration, that trailer helps build the Autobots, and it's real cool to see this. I've not seen this part of the Transformers where they build each other. It's going to be real interesting to see. I forget which Decepticon it is. I think it's Jetfire. I think Jetfire is building these Autobots to bring them to life, and he was telling Optimus Prime he was going to bring back one of the Autobots. There's so many names in these Transformers books, in the Transformers mythos, that I forget them all. But he was talking about bringing them back. So that'll be interesting to see how all that works, bringing their spirit, their energy into these robots that they build. I've never seen that kind of stuff shown in Transformers. All right, next up we got Dawn of DC Green Lantern #1. I've always been a vicarious Green Lantern fan. You know, been in the hobby for 11 years, and I would say within the last year, maybe 2 years, I've actually pulled the trigger on Green Lantern books for Green Lantern, not because Lobo's in them. Until about 2021, all the Green Lantern books in my collection were in the Lobo Appearance History collection in my PC. They had Lobo in them, but now I've branched out. And a lot of it's due to Myron Rumsey and Phil Bova over at the Podcast of Bova. You can find them on YouTube. I need to put them in the description. They have a podcast that you can find on your favorite podcast catcher. But if you're like me and you don't really like to leave YouTube, they have made the jump to YouTube years ago. So they're there. They got an episode. They're great. So some of the best fans of any characters or lore or mythos I've ever paid attention to. Very knowledgeable. Myron Rumsey's in his 60s and has been a Green Lantern fan for 40, 50 years and is just an encyclopedia of knowledge. And those people have rubbed off on me, and I'm finally making the jump here to make my first Green Lantern number. Well, I used to own Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I may go back and buy that book again. And then someday I'd like to read the infamous Jeff Johns book, Omnibus. But anyways, I'm on a tangent here. Let's get back on track. Green Lantern #1, though. I get major Star Wars vibes. I put this in my Instagram post from this cover. I love the cover. I thought the art was great. I really liked the art. Did I just love the art? Was it eye candy? Not really. But it's attractive enough art that it didn't jar me in the way that Wesley Dodge Sandman art does. I really feel like Adams, whoever Adams is, I should check the name. Adams understands Hal Jordan. He either knows this archetypal character well, the Maverick from Top Gun, the brash good guy. That he's a good guy. He's a baby face, but he's going to go rogue. He's a ladies' man. He never settles down. He lives life on the edge of the knife. That kind of character. Either Adams understands that archetype well, or he's a knowledgeable Green Lantern fan. It felt like how I've always heard Hal Jordan should have been written, how he always should be. That kind of the only way I know how to describe it is Maverick from Top Gun. Maverick from Top Gun, that character is literally Hal Jordan. And it felt very Top Gun-ish here. And I liked it. It didn't feel outdated. It didn't feel... And I understand it doesn't feel outdated. It doesn't feel like the same story I've always read. Because this is a brand new experience for me. But I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this issue. It was a little long, but it didn't matter. It didn't feel long. And we get to see the renewed relationships between Carol Ferris and Hal Jordan. And I really loved the writing, how human that interaction felt between Carol Ferris and Hal Jordan. I felt him reaching out to Carol and wanting to make contact with her again. It's his on again, off again love. And I felt Carol's frustration with Hal and how he's just always on again, off again. And she's trying to move on, but he won't let her. I felt that relationship dynamic very well, and I really liked it. And then the scene towards the end, it's kind of in the retrospective part of the story, where I guess it might be Hal Jordan's first day back on the planet. Not sure, but it's supposed to be like 30 days before, like the first page of the issue, where he fights this zealous villain that found Manhunter armor on Terrifabay. So I guess it's DC's version of eBay. And he just decides he's going to start killing people out in the streets, and Hal Jordan has something to say about it. That was cool as well. We also got the stereotypical scene where Hal Jordan is much like a Superman comic, where we get to see him saving, doing a superhuman feat to save these miners trapped in a mine. It was corny, but it was cool at the same time. Very on board with this book. I'm about 10 issues behind, but I'm cool with that. I'm excited for this Green Lantern stuff. I'm excited to finally be reading. This is the first Green Lantern series I'm going to get on, and I'm going to follow as long as I follow it. I'm just very excited to finally be here, part of the Green Lantern family, if you will. And then last but not least, I wanted to say this for last. This is just a unique book all on its own. It's not intended to be canon, but it is Human Target Book 2. Got the Bewitched vibe. I put that in my Instagram. The cover gives me big Bewitched vibes. She just looks kind of witchy here with her snow powers. And of course, that's Ice. For those of you that are familiar with the Justice League International, Ice makes her appearance in this book, and she's working with Christopher Chance, the Human Target, to track down who intended to poison Lex Luthor, who, and accidentally killed Christopher Chance. He's essentially a walking dead man right now, and what I mean by that, he isn't literally dead yet, but he's ingested poison that's giving him, as of this issue, he now has 11 days to live. So that's what I mean by he's a walking dead man. He's going to die in 11 days, and he's investigating who, supposedly in the Justice League International, killed Christopher Chance. And I'm so glad nobody has ever spoiled who did it. It's a wonderful whodunit. It's another Tom King murder mystery, but it's a cool twist. It involves characters I love. And I really appreciated the representation of Ice here. She felt mature. She felt of age. She felt like a superhero that had seen her prime in the 80s and was now on the backside of her prime, just trying to live life every day. A C-list hero, just making her way through the trials and tribulations of life as everybody else is. It really felt like that for her. It felt like this feels like the Ice that should be in that Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville. when I read Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville, they seem very regressed. They seem very young and very immature, and I don't get those vibes here. So much respect to Tom King for maturing Ice, showing, her in a way that they display her beauty, but that she's not overly objectified either. It's just a very graceful way. The whole book was very graceful, elegant. There was this romantic tension between Ice and Christopher Chance, but it was just done in such a like DC Black Label is intended to be an adult book. It was done in such an adult way. It wasn't childish. So. And that's what pull list this week. I'll come back in 2 weeks with another pull list, whole new budget, whole new books, and we'll go through what I bought, what I've been reading, what I've been trying to catch up on. And I hope you are enjoying this series. Thank you as always for liking, subscribing, commenting. And until next time, guys. Alright guys, had to cut to this next scene. I didn't mean to cut the video off so early. I looked down and I'm like, I forgot 3 books. I didn't read these books, so they weren't immediately on the mind to include in the rest of the episode, but here we are. I'm going to show them now. So I also picked up Dark Crisis Young Justice. This is what I dub a Cuz Lobo book, being such a Lobo super fan, wanting to collect the appearance history. Lil Bo is involved in this story. Lil Bo, or Slobo, played a large part in Peter David's Young Justice series from the 2000s. And so, Dark Crisis, including the Young Justice roster, they included little Lobo. I haven't finished the story. I don't even think I've started it. I'm trying to read all the Peter David stuff first to have that reference, and then I'm going to read the Dark Crisis Young Justice stuff. I may read Dark Crisis since it's a crisis event, but having read some of Justice League Incarnate, I'm a little turned off by that whole thing. I'm ready to just be in the Dawn of the DC Universe era and just move on. But anyways, next up we have Wolverine, number 22, filling in a hole. I'm still behind on Wolverine with my reading. I just need to get my ducks in order with the Benjamin Percy X-Men, X-Force, and Wolverine. It just gives me anxiety with how unorganized I've been since I put that kind of stuff on the back burner. So don't know what's going on in this story. It just fills a hole. So now I have the first 22 issues since I have issue 22 now. And then last but not least, I picked up Superman Annual number 1. This is another Cuz Lobo book. We're fixing to get, and I think I have the magazine over here somewhere. Here it is. We're fixing to get House of Brainiac. And I'm hoping this is a primer for House of Brainiac. It's a big Superman family of books crossover event kind of thing. Not a DC Universe event. And it's going to be involving Lobo. Lobo's got his cloning ability back, and it's going to be involving a bunch of clones of Lobo, and there's going to be a lot of craziness. I might dedicate a whole video to it. Who knows? But that is why I bought Superman Annual number 1. Lobo's in it, and I'm hoping it's a House of Brainiac primer. That'll conclude me, but before I go, I'd like to talk about a series. When I talk about things on video, I do like to try and attempt to do these things. I just party fouled. Anyways, I'm going to try and attempt to do a monthly budget series. A lot of people talk about speculation and how to make money in the community, in the hobby. Nobody talks about managing your money in the hobby. And I'm going to start off with a small budget, a budget that I think is small enough that I won't get to hear anything from the top tier wife about it. And it's large enough that I can maneuver within the hobby. I won't feel like I'm sacrificing too much with this budget. I'll be able to read what I want, most of what I want to read. I'll be able to buy most of what I want to buy, and I'll have a little bit of money on the end to grow the fund, because there's bigger books I want to chase. I eventually just like to get it to a point where it's just got a nest egg. The fund's got its own nest egg, and it'll just allow me to get into other things like paying for materials and my bags and my boards and I just want the whole fund to be its own separate entity and eventually just be its own thing, and it can allow me to have more guilt-free spending in the hobby. So yeah, it's kind of what it is. When the video comes out at the end of the month, we'll go over the budget, how I stuck to the budget. I'll tell you guys the amount that I'm sticking to. And I stuck to the budget today. I think I stayed in the budget within $1.50. So I'm not including taxes right now. I will when I go to the dedicated debit card I will have for this budget in the future. And then I will include taxes and fees and all that. But for now, I didn't include taxes and fees. So I went up to $1.50 within the budget, but stayed within the budget, and I'm happy that I did that, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys this series. Hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully it takes off, but hopefully somebody takes interest. Hopefully somebody's inspired. Hopefully more people are inspired to manage their money a little better in the hobby. And I'm not intending to be Dave Ramsey and tell you how to spend your money. I'm just intending to show you how I'm managing my money. So that'll do me officially this time. Thank you as always for liking, subscribing, commenting, and until next time, guys.